So I'm gonna get started. So thank you all so much for coming tonight. This is our community engagement committee meeting. For those that are new to the commission, there are three committees: community engagement, planning, and zoning. Community engagement meets on the first Thursdays of each month, given there's no holiday. The general body, which is the full 16 seated commission meets on the second Thursday, and planning and zoning they meet on the third Thursday of the month. Purpose of the community engagement committee is to do that, is to engage the community, but more importantly, to be able to have discussions and conversations that don't necessarily have to go in front of the full general commission, simply because we want room for conversation and dialogue and idea generation and things like that to be had in this particular committee space. Um, Generally, there are five commissioners on each committee, but there are some major vacancies currently on the commission, which has impacted, for the first time in my 4 years being a commission, that has impacted the engagement on this committee. So normally this is the fun committee, as people say, and this is the committee in which a lot of people want to serve on. But the unique thing is about all of the committees on the commission, there are community members that can actually be a part of those committees and actually have voting privileges and things like that. There aren't really that many voting needs for the CEC committee. There have been in the past, but really a lot of voting and so forth takes place in both planning and zoning. And so tonight we'll have two presentations or two conversations on two different types of topics. First we'll have Jesse, who will speak on an OSU study that's being done, particularly here in our neighborhood. What was I about to say? A particular study is being done here in our neighborhood, and how is it that we might be able to identify households or blocks that have disinvestment and high investment. And Jesse will explain more on that. NEAC is helping this particular research effort and the further contributions that it can make to how development and so forth like that happens from a medical and behavioral lens. And followed by Jesse will have Michael, who is from the Department of Public Service, who will speak on our slow zone project that is particularly here within Near East. And I know that there are several other areas that are kind of doing slow zone projects as well, but this has been a multi-year engagement and study that the city has done to identify areas of high speed and how is that we can bring about calming and so forth to the area. Okay, so first we'll have Jesse speak, followed by Michael. I want to acknowledge President Brian Curtis of the Franklin Park Civic Association. Thanks so much for being here, Brian. All right.
Thanks, Hunter.
Huh?
So a couple more. Couldn't get anything down there.
Do you have anything to put on the screen?
I don't.
Okay. Well, Michael, you have to.
Dr. Harris mentioned, so I am leading a study that I'd love to get everyone's input on. And I thought I'd just kind of give an overview. So what you're holding or what you have in front of you is just a description real general description of what the study is about, that we perhaps would pass out to participants or those that may be interested and would become participants within the neighborhood. The gist of the study is essentially creating, through virtual reality, replicas of neighborhoods within the Erie Side here. And then exposing individuals through putting on a virtual reality headset. Has everyone in here used virtual reality, or how many people have used virtual reality? Okay, and so we're using, one of the common headsets, Meta Pro Quest, the Meta Facebook, brand of virtual reality headsets, to show kind of the digital twin, if you will, of the neighborhood. And the goal is to test for different stress responses. The idea is trying to figure out what aspects of the neighborhood may, if any, lead to acute stress responses. And so essentially by acute, we're talking about like short-term stress. And so we're gonna have individuals in VR, that's the goal of the study, in VR for a couple minutes, testing for stress responses that are gonna be recorded just by, I should have brought the smartwatch, just a little smartwatch that's gonna be testing for heart rate as well as sweat. And so how much someone's sweating and how variable their heart rate is could be a measure of like short-term stress. And so we're going to be testing for that and then showing individuals a different version of their neighborhood through digital kind of manipulation in VR. So for example, if the neighborhood does not have, say it's a neighborhood that, the houses kind of almost look like this, what you can kind of imagine with this picture. What we would do with that neighborhood in one version is we would grow the grass to make it look overgrown digitally. And then we would maybe put a board on a window digitally. We would potentially, add some garbage, maybe a couple, paper bag digitally. And then we would show people two versions, back to back, and then test for those stress responses. And so that's the gist of the study. And I can give some background for why we think this would be an important study to do, if anyone's interested.
I'm definitely interested.
Okay, so I'm a cancer researcher at Ohio State. And so I've been doing studies looking at measures of neighborhood investment or disinvestment. And what I'm finding in relation to various cancers, most common breast so far, colorectal cancer, and then even just kind of getting into non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. Individuals living in disinvested neighborhoods survive their cancer for a shorter period of time. And we're trying to figure out why. And so, the studies are what we call observational, in that we're observing disinvestment and we're observing how long people live, but there could be different reasons for why we're observing the association, the correlation, that people living in disinvested neighborhoods survive their cancer shorter. It could be money. It could be individuals don't have as much money themselves. For some of our studies, we control for that. We basically say, well, let's assume everyone has, and let's create a situation where everyone has the same amount of money. We still see that association. So that makes us think, it's not money. And so what I want to do next is an experiment, because an experiment is going to, by showing someone the digital twin and then the opposite, level of investment or disinvestment, that experiment will allow us to more strongly say that there is some association or not between disinvestment and stress. I should mention stress is one of the pathways through which we think this correlation is popping out. So we think that it's potentially due to stress or health behaviors. We've also found that people living in disinvested neighborhoods, both in Central Ohio and I've done a lot of studies in New Jersey, it's previously at Rutgers University, have worse health behaviors, more tobacco use, more sugar-sweetened beverage consumption. And so we think it could be stress or health behaviors. So we're focusing on the Near East Side because in the Near East Side, we're seeing a mix of invested blocks as well as disinvested blocks. And so we're able to hopefully group individuals that are living in, living in invested areas and disinvested areas.
So is there any, you know how when people generally do this, there might be some type of stipend related, or what is the catch? Just to get them to do this, or is it just saying, hey, have a little bit of fun and do it?
So the maximum compensation for participating in the study could be $125 through a Visa gift card. $25 if individuals would allow photographing of their property, because that's what we need to do to include this virtual reality streetscape. We take a bunch of photographs and we process them in a computer to create the VR world. So $25 if you say yes to, or if participant says yes to photography, but not coming in for the study itself. If they come in for the study itself, it's an additional $100. So
And the study is one time or a couple of times?
just one time. Yeah, so we think it's going to be at most 2 hours coming into the office where I mentioned I'm at, which is actually by Ohio Health Riverside, Broadway exit at 315.
And forgive me for asking this last question. Me, I'm a person who, what could you tell somebody to ease their fear? Because I'm a person who refused to put something like that on my head. Like my grandkid, they got these things and they be fighting stuff, and I don't want a thing like that to have control over my actions.
Yeah.
So what could you say to make somebody feel comfortable with doing that?
So it's going to be short. I would say the sessions, we're going to limit them to 5 minutes within each of those versions of the neighborhood that you live in. And then you take it off for a couple minutes, answer some questions, and then put it back on for just 5 more minutes. So it'll be short. And if you're really not happy with it even after a minute, that's fine too. We'd like to have at least a minute worth of data, ideally 5 minutes. Yeah.
You said the study was going to be in the neighborhood?
So the study is going to be of neighborhoods and people living in the neighborhood.
How do you come about that? How can you study a neighborhood if you don't come to it?
So we'll be coming to the neighborhood to photograph the neighborhood and create that virtual reality
Who will you in?
in terms of people living, like neighbors in the community.
You're gonna do a study and not engage, because this is engagement. Engaging you. So how are you gonna engage in it? How?
So I've been working with Dr. Harris for a while, and he has agreed to, help with the study and engage.
You're engaged.
So the hope is that, some of these results could, inform future studies of neighborhood investment.
Once again, what are you studying?
So essentially, the level of investment that we can see in a neighborhood or disinvestment for the end goal of equitable investment in neighborhoods.
What's going on in the neighborhood? You need to know. You need to know what's going on. If I have you with one question, what is the major investment on Mount Vernon Avenue right now? Could you tell me? If I asked you on Main Street on the near east side of Columbus, what is the number one piece of investment? And why is that investment in what? Investment in what? I'll give you an example. Right here where you're sitting at, we have a food desert. You know what a food desert is? Do you know what the side effects of no access to food means right now as the nation, as our president has cut and fought and used food for a weapon, do you understand how food access and food insecurity in this neighborhood affects the overall well-being of this community? I'm just asking a question.
No, I don't.
So you have to know, in order to study a neighborhood, you have to first and foremost know the neighborhood.
Absolutely.
Remember, I told you this is called the model neighborhood facility. You know why it's called the model neighborhood?
Because it's one of the first? I don't know.
What is a model? What do you use as a model? See, these are all very important because this near east side of Columbus is historically a very important neighborhood. And over the last 50 to 100 years, it has gone through drastic changes. When I said drastic, from the I-670 corridor to 770 East, when all this happened, you talking about trauma. 5,000 houses taken. When I-670 came in, eminent domain took 5,000 houses. Demoed. I-670. What kind of trauma do you think that created for the community? Not only did that impact trauma, people on this side, on that side of Broad Street is still feeling the effects of it. Mount Vernon Plaza, you know what Mount Vernon Plaza is?
So, Mr.
Oh,
Calvin,
these are all very important.
Huh.
If you're gonna study a neighborhood, you need to know what you're studying
yeah, so
and
to,
impact.
so to give more context, the whole purpose as to why the university is reaching out to commission to support this project is because the commission knows the neighborhood. And we are here to be a bridge to the research and so forth that can hopefully bring better outcomes to the neighborhood. And so really, I guess it's my responsibility to identify streets within NEAC that are low investment, so I have a lot of down homes and is not developed and so forth, and then to identify streets that are well built up, like Franklin Park or Brighton and things like that, so that then neighbors that live on those disinvestment streets in those invested streets can be a part of this study so that they're able to record heart rate and basically bodily responses to being in a disinvested street, a very worn down street versus responses to being a very well
So
developed.
you're gonna
So,
connect him with the new owners of Mount Vernon Plaza?
um,
They just bought the building.
yeah,
So you're gonna connect them with that? You're gonna connect them with New Vine? That's
The
further
V.
down?
So, for the timeline of this study, we have to have essentially, take for example, what's a good street? Trevitt, I guess,
Yeah.
maybe. Take for example, Trevitt. I would take Jesse to Trevitt to knock on doors to ask the opportunity. Would you like to have your home photographed? And then two, would you like to be a part of the study that examines X, Y, and Z? Then I also would take Jesse to, say, Brand Room, which is a really good.
Brighton is good,
Yeah.
Franklin Park.
So I take him to Brighton, knock on some more doors, and say, can we take pictures of your home? And would you like to be a part of the study? And then from there, he is able to basically to do his research and to gather his findings.
What's the end result of this?
The result.
As a result of this,
Yes.
so it's a small study. We're just generating, no one's ever done a study like this before. And so this is the first. after this, we would want to do a larger study. The end goal after the larger study would be to work with city partners to inform the potential role of inequitable investment on health outcomes.
Yes.
Yes, please.
If your neighborhood is selected to participate, you'll be notified within 90 days. What determines if your neighborhood is selected?
So we're hoping to get about 8 neighbors in close proximity. And so we're gonna go door to door like
That
Dr.
say
Hendricks.
yes?
Yes. And so if we go, say we get 4 neighbors and 4 neighbors aren't home, we'll come back another day. So it'll take some time to see if there's 8 neighbors in close proximity to want to participate. And then we would have, if we get those 8, then we have a neighborhood that's, selected.
So you're looking for neighborhoods, or you're looking for areas that, of disinvestment and of investment?
Yeah, we're hoping to get 4 neighborhoods, collection of 8 neighbors in close proximity, so 4 streets or so, that 2 within each.
2 within each.
Yeah, so 32 people is kind of the goal, of 32 residents is the goal of the study.
Okay, and so you're going to decide which neighborhood to take them to?
Yeah, and I'm open to suggestions too. So if you want to give me street names, it gives. I have street names in my head, but they're not streets. And then from there, we will then do the process of knocking on doors to see who will want to be part of the study. And so really, I think the larger picture of this research is if you take, for example, the whole mission of PAC, which PAC is supposed to be focused on basically the wellness of the neighborhood when it comes to finances, jobs, health, and so forth. This study could, maybe inform, even larger studies to say, we can create better health outcomes if our streets look better. And so this is why we need to pour more money into basically rejuvenating streets and homes and so forth, so they can allow people to live longer. So.
The PAC, the city, OSU, going back 15 years, is committed to 1,500 acres of land here. They themselves were partners with the city, CMHA, and for the last 15 years, I've been engaged with them. So they have a study. They have documents. There are actual documents that you can access that tell you the history of disinvestment and or investment in this community, civics and or other. It's documented. And why that disinvestment happened. So you have a roadmap. Anybody you talk to in this neighborhood will tell you what happened. So, and the trauma that this community to this day is still experiencing because of the politics of the investment versus disinvestment. So it's documented. I mean, it's not nothing. The Near East Area Plan, we have a plan. We have the King Lincoln Plan. I mean, it's documented.
And this would probably add to it because it's a grassroots efforts to see how health disparities impact that.
And it's documented for a fact.
Yeah,
And
that
nobody-
is,
and
but
nobody
the
knows.
health outcome isn't documented.
Yes, it
He's-
is.
he's
Oh,
doing
yes,
a
it is.
study.
Oh, yes, it is. I'll give you an example. Carepoint Beach, the old VA hospital, that should have never been built. That was the ground was arsenic. I mean, it was arsenic. It was a fertilizer plant over there. Fertilizer. If you just dug that data, or you still should, that where Sawyer Park is, it's called the brownfield. You know what a brownfield is? Contaminated soil. Does more over the past 50 years. A lot of folks have died from cancer. Just over there where the So you look, and the reason why they had the cap, when Maryland Pool was built, they had to put a cap underneath the ground because the ground is contaminated with arsenic. That's a fact in this neighborhood. It's a federal lawsuit that went forward. Black folks have died in this community. So, that's a fact. Anybody that lives here knows that.
If you sign up, I'll sign up.
I'm just telling the fact.
Would you like to be part of the study?
How was the sandwich on Community Street?
And to bring this to transition point so Michael can speak. Jesse, what Calvin is sharing is a lot of I think rich information that can go a part of a literature review and so forth that is helping to inform and to tell the need for this work, and how there's been history of these matters and so forth that have plagued generations and so forth. And I think it just makes more use for why this research is needed. So we'll make sure that Mr. Calvin stays close to his work, so that you have that knowledge too.
You give them a copy of the actual blueprint. That's an actual documented piece
Yeah.
of blueprint that OSU was partnering to. The Act Plan, we have all kind of plans that have been over the last 50 years of investment versus disinvestment and the trauma. Remember, you said the effect. That's some serious trauma points. Today, as we speak, I mentioned the Mount Vernon Plaza, the trauma. You need to just take a walk. Take a walk. For 50 years, the impact. Take a walk down there. You want to see impact. Take a 5-minute walk down Mount Vernon Avenue at 20. You can get an impact. For real.
I appreciate that, thank you.
And I just shared with you the blueprint that is on PAC's website. You have that in your email.
Okay, thank you.
All right. And so when it comes to the timeline of this, we'll be sure to communicate that through our email, channels and so forth. Honestly, before this meeting comes to a close, write me down street names that would be relevant for this, and we'll make sure we make a good calculated effort to choose the right ones and so forth. All right, Michael.
Yeah, so actually before I jump into the slow zones update, I'm gonna let Brian give a quick update on our East Broad Street project,
Yes.
as well as
Oh, yeah.
some very recent work the department has done for Ohio Champion, because it's getting close to Weston's bedtime. Head out there shortly.
Yeah. So you have a handout in front of you, or if you don't, we'll make sure you can 1 second. For East Broad Street, right out the window here, you can saw some of it on your way in, but last year in November, so it's been almost exactly 1 calendar year, there were safety improvements made to East Broad Street to remove the outside travel lanes. They were previously, technically they were on-street parking lanes, but they only had a 3% utilization of that on-street parking. So it was effectively a 7-lane roadway, as you've experienced yourself. It was usually used as a passing lane on the outside, which made for some unsafe conditions for both vehicles, pedestrians, or cyclists. So we received a safety grant from the Federal Department of Transportation to remove those and narrow the roadway. So we have been collecting data since May on that change to the roadway and have seen a 89% reduction in excessive speeds. So vehicles going 55 miles an hour or more, we've seen an 89% reduction in those vehicles. And we've also seen a 54% reduction in crashes along that same stretch between May and August of this year versus last year. So there are some additional stats in that, one page that you have as well. We did have some initial questions of who the heck's gonna ride on that, street. I'm proud to say that Weston and I rode here today, but also that there's been over 12,000 trips that have been on those, by either someone on a bike, a scooter. I've seen quite a bit of people in motorized wheelchairs, which I was not necessarily expecting, but I'm proud that we have, created a space that people feel safe enough to be able to do that. I've talked to a couple who have been on motorized wheelchairs and they just felt safer doing it in the bike lane than on the bumpy sidewalk where they felt a little less safe. So we're really pleased. We've gotten some national attention as well with just what has been happening right here on Broad Street, right outside this building. And there are longer term plans to formalize that project and create a two-way bike facility on south side of the street and narrow the roadway permanently with, by moving the curbs. So looking to make that safety improvement more permanent. So that's quickly on East Broad Street. Any questions on that?
What's next in that project? Cause they, something and plastic things, is there next or, yeah?
Yeah, so we'll continue monitoring. It needs to be in for at least a year for the federal contract. But because of the timeline of that more longer term project, that's probably gonna be 28-ish. So it's probably gonna be roughly what we see out there today. We'll keep maintaining it as, we've gotten a few more products, like as some of the pieces get removed, or I think our snow plows even remove some of them. We'll look to replace those as well, but we'll keep monitoring it in the next couple of years. And we do have a consultant right now to do some of the design work. And then in 2026, in probably the summer, fallish, we'll actually come back out to a group like this to get some more public input on what that design of that bike facility on the south side looks like. So some more to come on the future design. But what do you see out there today? At least be out there for another year.
Seeing some creative movement when it comes to people that are used to parking there, then you'll see them in this drive on the inside of it.
I have also seen it.
And yeah. Especially once you get down to the BP and wherever CPO is, they
Yep.
just
Yeah,
drive through that.
definitely.
I will say it's gotten a lot better. The first couple months, there were more people parking in it.
Yes.
I think it's gotten a lot better that people have gotten used to it and probably seen other users in it of like, oh, this is why I'm not supposed to park there, because people are using it to get to and from work or school or an appointment. So I've noticed it getting better over the last 6 months or so.
Yeah, and I think there's one portion where it's on this right side of Broad Street, probably in that same area I'm talking
Yeah,
about.
at 899.
Yeah.
East Broad.
Where the bus lane is actually still on the sidewalk, so the bus has to pull in. So if you are on a bike, you have to bump out. So I'm curious, why wasn't the same kind of raised approach like you have right here, just kind of instituted throughout?
Well, for one, those bus pads are $50,000 a piece, so
Gotcha.
if we would have wanted to do that, it would have increased the project cost by quite a lot. We also had just never used anything like that before, so we wanted to test out how either bus users, riders liked it, how bus operators liked it. I've gotten feedback on the positive end from both of them. Operators like to just stay in the travel lane and not have to pull in and out. And I think people that I've talked to that have been on it or that are getting on the bus have appreciated just ease of access. There's no, like, especially if you're in a wheelchair, they don't have to put down the ramp or anything. So there's some of that. I think mainly it was project cost initially, but
Okay.
yeah.
All right. So fall of 2026 is.
That's when we'll have some additional engagement on the more permanent infrastructure improvements. Yep. And that'll all be from the Department of Public Service as well.
Awesome. So we'll, make sure I guess you'll send us an email. Make
Definitely,
sure it puts
yeah,
it back.
hopefully you'll have us back
Yeah.
in a room just like this, Dr. Harris.
Do you have anything to do with that median in the middle of Barter Street, right at, Red Cross? Did you put that up?
I didn't personally, but our department did, yeah.
Why?
Why? That's a slow travel down, so it visually narrow
Slow working.
vehicular
Because it creates
travel.
a problem, coming out of Red Cross.
Yep,
I mean, it creates a problem. I don't know what you said the end goal was to slow traffic down?
yes, sir. Safety.
From the Enterprise Street. You need to try it sometime. I mean, actually do it and watch the traffic, because a lot of traffic around Red
Yep.
Cross.
Yep,
So
yeah, travel daily.
they do that, so coming and going, that median right in the middle of the street, ooh, all right, it's dangerous. I mean, that median created a problem.
It also added a rapid flash beacon, so for pedestrians that are crossing Broad Street, there's lights up above that can help slow.
So did it help? That median, did it help?
It helps pedestrian crossing by quite a lot. Because it allows some place for the pedestrian to be able to act more safely, as opposed to just having to cross all 7 lanes and travel all at once without a light.
Do you understand how much traffic Red Cross has right there?
Yeah, I do, sir.
Right there.
Mm.
So that median directly, I mean, right in the middle of the street, you said it helped? You said it helped?
It helps pedestrian traffic quite a lot, yeah. And just a couple other improvements, not specific to East Broad Street, that we've made just within the last week. Actually, last Friday, I think they were installed. On Ohio and Champion, there were 4 all-way stops that were added.
Yeah. About time.
I know. Yeah, so those are, we kind of call them quick build installations, but as you saw, it's mainly just paint and posts, which to maybe some of this room, mainly sounds like some of your sentiment of like what took you guys so long. But I think we're trying to do more of that across the city, and happy that it's able to be done in this neighborhood specifically. I know that really came from 311, so whether you or your neighbors or your cohorts are submitting 311s, those do have quite a bit in where installations like that are done. So please keep making those notes to 311 and submitting them to DPS, Department of Public Service. So they were installed again on Ohio and Champion, I think at Oak, Franklin, and Fair on both Ohio and Champion. And then there were painted bump outs added at several of those same intersections as well. So we will again, we collected before speed and crash data, and we'll do so again in a couple months. We usually try and give people a little bit of time to adjust to what the traffic pattern is like before we collect the data, but even just early experience for me, and maybe even some of you, is it feels pretty great to use an Oak Street and not wonder if people are gonna be traveling Champion 45 or more. So yeah, we'll be excited to see what comes out of that, but we would love to share some of those findings with you. And if you can even share them with the greater area commission when we have that. So yeah, happy to answer any questions. I didn't necessarily install them, but it was Department of Public Service, so I feel proud of us for doing that.
So keep making them 311 calls.
Yeah, exactly. We're gonna add 10 out of 10 as a comment to the public record. Any questions on Ohio Champion? Okay. Michael, slow zones?
Slow zones. Yeah, so, for those in the room that, which I'm guessing as several have not heard the phrase neighborhood slow zone, it's essentially a holistic view of traffic calming. So very traditionally, traffic calming is, oh, there's an issue on this street, so we just put something there. And then when we live in a historic neighborhood like this that has a grid network, we just put the issue over to the other street instead of looking at the neighborhood or the area as a whole. So a neighborhood slow zone is essentially a holistic traffic calming plan where we are looking either at an entire neighborhood or a subsection of a neighborhood in a very comprehensive, eyes wide open view of how we can improve traffic safety, especially from speeding, but also working directly with the community to identify those hot spots because it's the community that lives it every day. So this is also a federally funded demonstration project that we're due from Federal Department of Transportation. We kicked things off earlier this year. We recently just wrapped up our engagement. I'll say again, kudos to our partners on the Area Commission who have been a big help in that engagement, from our open house, which was held over at the Marine Cultural Lab, to also a online survey we did, which we had 200, is open for 2 weeks. We had 248 full responses to that survey, which means that each of those 248 people answered every single question, participated in every single point of that survey. So that was awesome for us. So Dr. Harris and the commission, thank you so much for helping out that. We got a huge response, and that has really helped us get to where we are now, which is having developed our concept plan for the neighborhood. So what are the treatments or the interventions that are we going to use? Where are we going to target those efforts based on that input from the community, as well as the data that we've collected from looking at vehicle speeds, looking at historic crashes, and then building out what those interventions look like. So that was just submitted to us. We're going to be reviewing those. And then from there, by end of the year, we hope to have our construction documents. And I think at that point, is beginning of the year, is we'd probably love to come back to the commission to walk through what that plan is. And then hopefully by summer of this upcoming year is when those materials will go into the ground. And then we're going to spend at least another full year from that collecting data, getting community feedback and input, because we really hope this is a process that we can then repeat in other neighborhoods across the city, where we're looking at this holistic area of a neighborhood, working directly with the community, with the area commissions to help make those improvements so people can feel safe walking, biking, driving around their neighborhood and make those positive impacts that we want to see. So happy to answer any questions on that. I do have some handouts here. Please feel free to take notes.
We have previously discussed those speed bumps.
On Atchison, that's where I remember your, okay, I was like,
Okay, you remember me because I'm grand.
there we go, you weren't wearing a hat.
Right. So, again, the material, I don't know what you use or what,
So, yeah, so because this is a,
but when I go visit my daughter in Dublin, her speed bumps are soft. My speed bumps are hard.
I see what you mean.
And I want my speed bumps soft, like hers.
Amen.
So I'm just trying to make sure that the same materials
Yeah.
there, I can get that.
definitely. I know, and I remember from our conversation, especially the one point where it's the shorter speed humps are definitely a little bit more of a bump. So in terms of permanent speed humps, we use a much longer one now that is a little softer going over. Specifically for this demonstration project, we're all using what we're calling temporary materials. So it's not asphalt speed humps. It'll be like a rubberized product, something like that, using paint, signs, posts, all different types of materials with this. But again, how can we get improvements into a neighborhood? Maybe while we plan out a longer, bigger permanent project, but how can we make those improvements now? And figure out what are those materials that work really well, and especially with them being temporary materials. Let's say we put something in, we find out community doesn't like it, we're not seeing a good result from it, we just take it out.
Yeah, okay.
So, but yeah, I remember.
Okay, I'm just saying,
Yep.
when it comes time to do the real thing, make sure it got
it's
the
the
soft
nice,
stuff.
nice soft ones. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Can you, yes,
Yeah, question.
Yeah.
Okay, so, your department, the ones to check out the traffic light at Long and Ohio,
That would have been within Department of Public Service.
You know, I scale.
I can't say specifically, because that is a different division within our department. Typically, from my understanding is, so a lot of traffic signals have federal regulation that goes on top of them. So when we do, especially let's say a larger roadway change, we have to study that signal. And I know there are certain metrics that have to be met, and if they don't, then that's typically when a signal that comes out, because that can impact the city getting federal funds, that can impact the city for liability reasons. For that specific one, I can't say, but at least my understanding is that's typically why you see a signal come out.
Are you asking because of the accidents that have happened?
Yeah,
there?
there's
Yeah.
just a bunch of accidents like every day.
Well, anytime between 3 and 5,
Yeah.
if you're at that intersection, buses coming through to pick up the kids, that is a serious, and it's been serious ever since they have taken the light out. I don't know what was the rationale. Everybody in the neighborhood knew the light was there. It's almost at a 4-way intersection. But when the buses come through, pick up the kids, but that pack, there's no means to control the traffic. The light controls the traffic. The community's been asking for this ever since the light was taken out. I don't know what the problem is. Put the light back.
People have to all submit through online.
Go on.
For real.
Well, that problem, remember the studies? Remember the plans? It's in plans and stuff. The community has asked for that light to come back for at least 25 years. I don't know what the problem is.
Yeah,
It ain't rocket science. Put the light back.
I would add, because again, Mount Vernon is on this plan. It was just announced that the Poindexter Village Museum is being built. Once they meet that $26 million project, and so just imagining what traffic that we even bring to that one intersection alone, when you have museum traffic, along with, the kids that live there, along with, the convenience store traffic and the auto shop and whatever. And so, again, I remember, I'm on 29, I remember when that traffic light was there. And as Mr. Calvin said, just bringing it back.
But it's not rocket science. Put the light back. Put it back tomorrow. Jesus.
Put the light back for Mr. Calvin.
No, not for
And
the
the rest
kids.
of us.
Not for the kids.
That's right.
Because if they're small, between 2 and 3, go to that intersection.
Yeah, that's right.
I have a question. With the museum happening, are project managers, like, is that project allowed to advocate, or, I don't know,
So
like,
that's
would suggestions from them be, would
because
be
it's
strongly
a
considered?
development. I don't know. I know typically a development there is usually either some type of traffic study or something along those lines that is done that comes up with recommendations. And that's housed in our division of traffic management, so I don't know the answer specific to that. But I'm assuming there's going to be some type of review of the traffic impact that new museum is going to have.
Maybe it's something that we can let the developers, that project know is on the community's radar.
Yeah.
I think that'd be a good step too. Thanks.
Yeah. And so, now Mr. Calvin has me think, which he always does. But, like when I walk through the walkthrough of the different ideas for calming when it came to roundabouts, to intersection
Narrowing,
narrowing,
gateway treatments.
and things like that. And I've heard various reasons as to why the traffic light's not coming back, because of a cost to put a traffic light up and all this type of stuff. But when it comes to that one intersection, and I'm not saying a roundabout there is a solution, but what are you kind of preliminary finding as what a solution could be at that particular intersection? Where it's pictured even here, you know, so like what ideas have kind of come up?
Correct. So when it comes to a neighborhood slow zone, we're primarily looking at residential streets. And typically streets that are under 10 miles an hour or under. We're looking at some of the ones like Ohio and Champion, because even though those are signed 35, it's still largely fronted by residential. So Long Street is considered material. So while it's within the project area, it is not part of the project.
So we are looking at streets that are going north and south.
It's largely north-south, or we think of Maryland Avenue or others, but it's a lot of north-south streets because that's the main connectors between
Gotcha.
the two are, so Mount Vernon and Long
And
Street.
Long.
So the red lines are the boundaries now.
Red lines
So
are bound.
the red lines that you're seeing going diagonally, those are not part, they're within the study area, but they're not part of the study. They're not part of the projects. So like Mount Vernon, because Mount Vernon already has some projects that is coming forward for improvements.
And so that too.
Mhm.
So then I guess what streets have been identified as slowing down?
So-
I know 21st has to be because of Wendy's.
There were definitely some of those section, Maryland,
Mhm.
Taylor, Woodland, Hamilton, those are all the ones because we just got the concept study today, so it hasn't got a memory, but those are the ones that came up 20th, which was also consistently communicated from when we had a stakeholder meeting to the open house to the online survey. It's a lot of north-south streets, a couple east-west, Atchison even popped up on that as well, so, yeah.
Yeah, but folks are in that fire.
So the things that they're doing on Champion and Ohio now, kind of like that Main Street area and coming back this way, where are they stopping at kind of like Broad? Because I don't see it
Yeah, so for
after.
that one, I am not sure the extent of, because we just got some more information today on it. Because again, it's largely Division of Traffic Management that led that. It's like we were aware it was happening, but not totally familiar with every single intersection that was involved with the extents from X to Y on those streets.
Because when I'm leaving out and I'm traveling south on Ohio, and when I get to Long Street, Long is the place where I pause the most because the Long Street traffic be going so fast, I have to creep out because I'm scared I'm gonna get T-boned. So, it does need something, I mean, maybe flashing lights, I don't know. Or right before that intersection coming both ways, it could be some slow down signs to alert drivers, because that's definitely, I got in an accident there once and never again, but a lot of people always get in an accident like that.
Just a few weeks ago, driving down Long Street going the speed limit, and someone didn't want to be behind me, so they just cut right into the other lane. So I totally hear what you're saying. Yeah.
Oh, nothing else, I gotta ask him something now.
Any other questions for Michael? So you said that you will be coming back in what?
Yeah, I'm hoping early next year,
Yeah.
once we kind of have those final designs in, so we can, I can even bring big printouts to this meeting and people can kind of see the full visual of what's going to be happening, as well as some visual examples. Because the other thing I don't want to have happen is we have huge gaps between now and when the project happens, because we know that happens a lot with city projects. So the last thing is also, I don't want the community to feel like, oh, the city came, they talked about this thing, but when stuff happening. So we want to make sure everyone's involved every step of the way, and everyone's kept up to date of what's going on, and you can see what's going to happen before it starts going underground.
Okay.
So I see where it's like, it says community input you're looking for, and I know like this is one avenue. Is there other avenues?
So, yeah, so we just within the past month finished up our community engagement piece.
Okay.
So we had some community stakeholders that we identified and had a small workshop with. We had
How would those?
so largely community leaders, so folks who are from the area commission. We invited representatives from each of the 3 neighborhoods that our community was in. So Bronzeville, Woodland Park, Eastgate were all invited to this. PACT was also invited to participate in that stakeholder. Then we had a community open house, which was held at the Marine Cultural Lab. And then after that, we had a community survey, online survey that was sent out, and we worked with the commission to make sure that got spread as far and wide as possible.
Yeah, there's all this engagement, that light still ain't been put up. What is the harm? Jesus.
I'm just saying it's like.
There's a disconnect somewhere. There's a disconnect. The disconnect is the city of Columbus ain't doing their job. If one of our kids get killed at 3 o'clock in the evening, our health person, get the light that, I mean, what is the problem? This is not rocket science. You people getting $100,000 a year making decisions. You can make that decision today and get a light out there.
I do think that he's here to help.
But it's okay, but I'm telling you, I'm telling you, it's a serious problem.
I agree
And that's
with
what
you.
you're hearing.
I do,
That needs to be addressed.
yeah.
I don't know what else to say.
But we do so appreciate your time coming here.
And I appreciate all the support that the commission and the community has been so far through this project.
Letting us know how we can have our voices be heard is really what you said.
Follow-up question. So if I'm understanding you correctly, like you're saying as a resident of Bronzeville, like I would have received something for community input, or you're saying, to clarify?
So we worked with both the area commission,
Yeah.
we worked with the Bronzeville Neighborhood Association, so with Willis to help spread the word of when we were having our open house, as well as sending out the link to the community survey.
See, I don't know what that means.
Yeah, and the reality of it all, is if residents aren't on their email distribution list,
Yeah,
like
that's
that,
right. You missed it.
there's no way to know.
Yeah.
There's only been maybe one, study or something like that, that has been done where they sent out mailers and.
Which were, there were problems with that too, because of apartment distribution
Yeah.
and stuff.
And so like it's, I don't say there's one perfect way to get the word out, but that was our only form of distributing, was through our email and on social media. That's it. I'm not knocking on no doors. Now, that would have been probably more. Listen, if he ain't in my walking route with my dog, I just ain't knocking on nobody's door. But as a commission, we have to figure out more ways to be able to, to share resources, especially in high visibility areas. So I know in the past we have printed flyers and have put them in certain places like gas stations, rec centers, and kind of high reachable places. But we don't have no budget to make sure every resident gets something. So it really takes all of us to be
Yeah.
able to get the word out for different things like that.
And one of the things that I like to suggest to people who's not familiar, I always tell them to go to our website, and the other associations are there, and just reach out to them and be added to the mailing list, so that the email blast, so that when something come out, at least you're in the know, whether you attend meetings or not. You at least get the emails to know what's going on in the area.
So let me help you understand, sir. A resident of 50 years, the community wants the light. Now, you don't need to meet with nobody else. I'm telling you what the community wants.
So are you saying give them an email, the commission
So-
email?
Yes, ma'am. So just so that they can, send out, don't we have that?
Yeah,
Well,
we send
send-
out quite a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you get an email from us? Oh, look. Let me make sure I have your email. But no, I know whenever,
And like Bronzeville, they'll get
Yeah.
added to their email list, like, everybody kind of like have that. They should have one where they send out the blast to people.
Do I have to go to the Brownfield email? Thank you. But since you asked this question about the conversation kind of started from your question, do you have any ideas or maybe like different preference for how to be contacted as a resident of this neighborhood?
Which,
Yes,
like,
please.
I understand the email, like, distribution list, but then you're really biased to people that, like, really plug in, right? So my idea would be, like, I understand not knocking on doors, but going to other places, right? So, like, we've got the Y, we've got churches, we've got the synagogue, the mosque, like, they're all right here. And sort of distributing through those places where we know people are going. And so they're actually more engaged beyond just the hyper involved people.
I don't know if this exists. Like, I think the library has a digital sign outside their building.
They have a digital sign and they have a community bulletin board, so like when we have our leading up to the community open house of the library, Y got flyers that they
Yeah.
can pin up and hand out.
Yeah, but it just might be like some sort of billboard alternative in this urban neighborhood would be a good way to reach people who don't use technology, don't get mail, don't go to church, don't go and build other buildings, like, I think that might be something to consider, like, not just you speaking to the whole room and all of the different things that we're all involved in, like, would be a cool way to start to reach members of our community. Since I know you've worked really hard to digitize your page.
Yeah, I've been saying we
like-
need a digital, billboard in this community.
Maybe outside of this building.
Like, we really do need a digital billboard in this community. I don't know where that conversation started, but.
Thank you.
it's right here, I don't know where it goes,
Community
but.
council might be able to help with that.
You're right.
Shoot, like YMCA's and all of our churches and so forth. Cause it maybe it's something you can take back too, cause I know for my nonprofit, I send our flyers for any upcoming events to schools and to churches and things like that, so all they have to do is just print, or they can share it on their or on their distribution list, so it's giving them access to both tools. And so, but what I might have the members of this committee do is just start scouring for church emails and all these other emails and things like that, and adding them and saying, could you please share this information too? So yeah, there we go. I can't wait to get your application so you can join us. Awesome. So to bring this meeting to a close, we do have seats open for the commission. Brian, I have a seat in your bounds that I'd love for someone that was not of Franklin Park or some. Actually, no, I had two Franklin, whoever your treasurer was had ran for the vacant seat once, and I don't know this guy for y'all, but if you put the word out, I'll gladly take someone from Franklin Park or area for the seats. The applications due close on Tuesday. It can be found on our website, so please get those responses in by Tuesday, 5:30 or I think 6:30, so that we can have the interview style at Thursday at the general body meeting. And hypothetically say no one applies, and guess what? The application stays open till December. And then Hopefully we're able to close it at some point. But, we have 2 seats in District 2, 3, and 4. There's 1 seat in 3.
One.
Uh-huh, yep, there it is, so, all right, so it is, 7:48, I'll take a motion to adjourn this meeting, given there are no further questions.
I got one question before we leave.
Yes, sir.
We just had an election on districts. I would like engagement to schedule a meeting to explain to the community what is District 7, what are the requirements that was necessary to fill that seat, and how is it during the election process, the neighborhood said yes, but the city said no. And I don't understand that. And in engagement, the reason why I'm here is to ask for an explanation of district seats, how they are, and the requirements for filling those seats versus citywide. It was created, that seat, district seat was created to represent and the voting block of people in that district would have an impact on who filled those seats. So the election process said the community voted one way and the city voted the other way. Can you have a meeting with the community to explain to them the actual process?
When it comes to city council.
This is many city council. Galatians are many city council. I need for someone to explain to the community in District 7 why the seats, those additional seats were created and for what purpose, and there are requirements that need to be fulfilled. How did the community voted one way overwhelmingly, but when it was put at large, the city went the other way. And the process of cities picking our leaders, the whole process, to me, there are a lot of questions that need to be answered because I was very intricately a part of the process of increasing city seats. That started in this community. That increase of those other 2 seats started right in the Near East Side. How is it that we are not in this community, this is District 7, not getting, and look at the numbers, just look at the numbers. The district voted one way, but when it was put at large, it went the other way. There's a conflict that needs to be explained, and you as the chair of NEAC needs to explain that to the community, because it made the front page of the dispatch, sir.
Yes, sir, yep, I know.
So can you, this is engagement, right?
Yes, it is.
They need to know.
Mhm.
It seems to me there's some conflict. Could you help the community
I understand the process.
navigate that process, sir?
You can't change the result, but I.
No, it's not about you. No, the results are
Yeah.
district-wide, he won, and city-wide, she won. So why is there a direct conflict? There's 2 different votes there. Look at the dispatch. Look at the dispatch over.
Yeah, that's it.
Seats were created out of this community.
Mhm.
So I worked on advocating for those 2 seats. But now, the community wants one thing and the city wants another, so something's missing there. So can you help me with that?
Yeah, I'll talk
Work on
to,
that.
yeah, I'll talk with leadership of this committee.
Thank you.
and seeing how.
Because everything is political.
Conversation on that.
Even this is political,
Mhm.
because this is a mini city council. A lot of people don't understand it. This whole city is run by way of commissions. Commissions are city councils. So I'm asking you as the chair
Mhm.
to help the community understand the conflict, okay?
Will do. All righty. It is 7:53.
We done?
I'll entertain a motion to adjourn this meeting.
Second.
We didn't make that motion.
Oh, I make a motion to adjourn.
Second. There we go. Okay, all those in favor? 3. Okay, thank you. All right, you all have a good night.
Thank you.
Mhm.